a lot of people, including Laura Loomer, have been trying to suggest that they were always on board with Charlie Kirk and that they weren't saying anything negative about him. We obviously have covered the very cryptic messaging that she was saying to him. Well, despite what Shapiro would have you believe now, this is what Shapiro was saying with maybe, you know how Shapiro is kind of the more of the younger crowd voice for the state of Israel? I would say for the older crowd, it's definitely Mark Levin. So here's what these two knuckleheads had to say together.
You and I have people who we thought were conservatives sound a lot like the Marxist Islamists who were attending this event last week, don't they?
I think it's exactly right. Unfortunately, there's a grievance culture that has become the dominant strain on the left that says that all people in the world who are poor, who have bad lives, that is the fault of the West, that is the fault of Israel, it's the fault of capitalism, it's the fault of the Jews, it's the fault of anyone except for themselves. They have no...
Well, that's not true, Betty Boy. Actually, our system is broken, and you benefit mightily from how you make your money off of that broken system. There are millions of people in this country who suffer mightily because they do not have the ways and means of making the money that they need to make in order to be successful. You know, that in itself really does lend a thought, if you will, as to why that is happening now. People cannot afford to live. So how do you think they're going to react? It's always easy from the peanut gallery when you have a lot of money and a lot of power to say, how come you can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Benny is a little boy, and he's got a lot of blood on his hands, but he's got more to say.
No agency, and thus all the systems must be torn down from the rooftops all the way down to the ground. And you see that sort of mirrored on a weird horseshoe part of the right that is now arguing sort of the same thing, that the problems that people have are intractable, that there's a shadowy group that's manipulating all of this, that America actually was never great. America was wrong in World War II. America never landed on the moon. And these kind of two forces are now bizarrely joining hands in the middle. It's very strange.
Do you think there's enough of an effort to push back? I find that conservative groups and conservative organizations that have these weekend events and these seminars, whether they're for young people or think tanks or that sort of thing, they sort of sprinkle these events with these kooks. They sprinkle these events with these American haters who claim to be American firsters and are fake MAGA and even stab the president in the back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely an attempt by some of these organizations to, quote unquote, maintain the big tent. But the reality is that, as many have said, the problem with a big tent is that you may end up with many, many clowns inside. And the most fundamental thing is that just because you're saying somebody votes Republican, that does not mean that they ought to be the preacher at the front of the church. They're not the person who ought to be leading the movement if they are spending all day criticizing the president of the United States as covering up a Mossad rape ring or being a...
But that exists. It's been proven that a rape ring within the Mossad does exist. And here you are out here spewing this bullshit with the biggest shit stirrer on the other side, Mark Levin. You're doing it as well. And so what? Charlie Kirk had a few favorable things to say against what you're espousing and saying that maybe Israel is not benevolent? I don't know, man. Seems pretty messed up. And you look really guilty. Extremely guilty, as a matter of fact. I'm going to get to that in a minute. He still has a little more to say.
Tool of the Israelis for hitting an Iranian nuclear facility, a thing he has said literally his entire career that he was going to do. And so it seems to me that if we are to hold anything in sort of reverence, it ought to be the fundamental tenets of the American Republic, which I believe to reside in conservatism. And if conservative organizations are simply going to give up the ghost on that in order to maintain a sort of pseudo-coalition, that is a gigantic moral and political mistake.
So Ben Shapiro is making his move. He is making his move to take over. And it should come as no surprise that one of the things that he's looking to do right now is potentially making a power play to take over Turning Point USA. And if you ask me, that's pretty sickening, but not entirely surprising. This is what Charlie does. Or excuse me, this is what Shapiro does. There's a statement that he made. I want to pull this up. Forgive me, guys. I'm having a little bit of a glitch with my system right now. But let me pull this out of here. All right. So very important. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see this. Let's see. So Ben Shapiro made a statement pertaining to what's going on right now post Charlie Kirk's assassination. Whoever is pulling up the comments, please stop doing that for a minute. I want to read this statement to you so you guys all have an idea of where he's coming from. So Ben Shapiro, who made an appearance at the Reagan Library, may have been postponed after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, granted, Ben Shapiro found his way onto Bill Maher's show on last night. So he's on his book tour right now, trying to sell his heap of bullshit to the country, as he often does. But the pundit insists he won't stop speaking out on college campuses or anywhere else, citing online rumors that he planned to cancel a college tour in the wake of Kirk's death. What online rumors? No one fucking cares about you. But anyway, Shapiro called the idea BS, where Americans were not going to be deterred. You will be deterred, and you will be walking around with a plethora of security detail. We all know you will. You're not going to show up without Secret Service or some type of protection racket to make sure that nothing happens to your sorry ass. But anyway, we're going to pick up that blood-stained microphone where Charlie left it. Now, who in the hell makes a statement like that? Who in the hell makes a statement to the effect of, we're going to pick up that blood-stained microphone? I don't know. There's just something really evil and sinister about that statement. And Lord knows from where I stand, it's just, it indicates something, almost like a tongue-in-cheek, like he's trying to let you know what the deal is. So Shapiro also had a message for those who would intimidate, who would seek to stop us, who would seek to end free discussion. F you. We will not stop telling the truth. All you do is lie, but whatever version of truth you think in your own, deluded brain, fair enough. We will never stop telling the truth. We will never stop debating and discussing. We will never stop standing up for what America is and what it should be. And we will never let Charlie Kirk's voice die. I don't know, guys. There's just something about that blood-soaked microphone statement that really makes you wonder, why would he have to throw that in there in that context? Pretty fucked up, as far as I can see. I don't have any love for Charlie Kirk, but I certainly would pick him over Ben Shapiro. And I hope all of you would too. Again, it's a moot point now because Charlie's not here anymore. But Ben is. And Ben is attempting to make a power play to take over Turning Point USA. Is he going to get away with it? I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me in the least. It would seem on the surface that he's going to try to do something of that nature. He's an evil son of a bitch. And if anybody understands why the ilk that is the Zionist Jewish contingent that Ben Shapiro supports, let's not forget that these types of actions, which are still going on in Gaza and the West Bank, is how they conduct business.
لانك واحده عنصريه.
هذا هو التهجير، هذا هو الترحيل القسري، هذا هو.
Now, for those of you who want context about what's going on here, these are Zionists that are stealing another piece of land in the West. I believe this is the West Bank from a Palestinian, and they're stealing their, in this case, it looks like a refrigerator. Hey, if I don't take it, somebody else is going to take it. Am I right? Here's some milk for your troubles. We stole your refrigerator. We took everything out of it that we wanted. We don't want the milk. Might be expiring in a day or two. Here, you can have it. I don't know how they have the grace to not really fight back. I wish they would. Lord knows if I was there, I would probably do something a lot worse. Just thought. Tough. Look at these fucking inbreds. I swear to God, the sooner we can get away from them, the better off we all will be. All of us. We can't save everybody, and we certainly can't save the Palestinians. But what we can do is we can redirect our country away from this genocidal state and everyone in this country that supports it. That's our job, to put our differences aside and figure out how we get away from this genocidal ideology. And Ben Shapiro gleefully supports it. It's a monumental task, for sure. But we have to do what we have to do.